Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope all of y'all are having a great weekend so far and have a great evening planned. Bob wanted me to give y'all a quick intro to the video today. It's part 2 of 3 in the series about the escape where he went back to go get his buddies and everything pretty much went to hell. This part's a little bit darker than the other one. It shows just how dirty the sheriffs and COs and cops can be once they've recaptured these guys, regardless of the situation. Another thing I wanted to thank y'all real quick on is letting Bob know about the notifications issue. We contacted YouTube. They told us it was a server issue that they were having, but they say that about everything anytime you tell them something. So it is what it is as far as, we know. They said it's fixed, but if you guys experience any more problems with it, always, let us know, and we're going to do whatever we can to get the problem fixed for y'all so that y'all don't miss any content. As always, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already. Double check your notifications to make sure that everything's good on that. And if you're having any problems, let us know. And we hope y'all have a great weekend. Take your wife out to a nice dinner to BK or something. Maybe get a milkshake and a Whopper. Anyways, I hope y'all have a great weekend. Have a great night. Y'all be safe. Take it easy. Peace.
So, in the last video, I ended with being arrested for helping those guys escape. Alright, so they take me down to the jail, and they put me in what I guess was an interview room, because the walls were plywood. Not plywood, drywall. The ceiling was drywall. And there was just a little table and chair in there. In the room next to me, I could hear one of the dudes talking to the police. And I couldn't hear it real good, but I could hear him telling them that I murdered somebody. And he was trying to make a deal with them to get out of the escape charge. And I don't know if there was ever a murder that actually happened or not, but he was trying to finger me for one. I could hear it. And I flipped. I started banging on the walls and screaming to him to shut the F up. And so they came and got me, and they dragged me out and threw me in a cell. So I'm in the cell for 2 or 3 days waiting for my court appearance. And when the day comes, they take and put me in the back of a van with another guy. And we're handcuffed by ourselves. And we go into the court, and they do their little thing, and then they go to send us back to the jail. So when we leave court, they put us back in the van, and we're handcuffed. I'm handcuffed in the front, and I got no shackles on. And the guy that was in there with me, he doesn't have any handcuffs on at all. Well, what I used to do, all my clothes, I would keep a handcuff key in the lining around the waist, so that if I ever got picked up, I would have a key to be able to escape. Back in those days, when you went to jail, you kept your street clothes. They didn't put you in a uniform, jail uniform. So anyway, I dig around in the waistband of my pants, and I get the key out, and I hand it to the guy that was in the van with me, and I asked him to help me open the cuffs. And as it turns out, the damn key would not work. Okay, this handcuff key, it said Presto on it. And the little handle that you hold it with your fingers was shaped kind of like a clover. And it looked like it would fit, but it didn't. So I was screwed now. But that wasn't going to stop me. I told the guy, I said, look, when we get back to the jail, you get out first. Don't say nothing, just get out first and go where they tell you to go. And so we get back to the jail, and he gets out. They got the side door open, and he goes on in, and the cop was a real old dude, like in his 60s, and it was only one. And so I go to step out of the van. As soon as I step down, I take off running. And the guy screams inside the door, escape, escape. And then he starts chasing me. So I run around the front of the building, and it turns out that there's, I don't know if it's police department or detective officers or what, but they're in the bottom floor of this building. So I run around the front of the building, and I'm running, but I can't get in stride because my hands are cuffed in front of me. And so the guy is chasing after me. Well, he slowly gets closer and closer to me. I mean, at one point he was so close that he could have almost reached out and grabbed the back of my shirt. So when I turned around and saw how close he was, I just started running just a little bit harder. And gradually, I was increasing the distance. Now, this was a big, long field, and I could see a road and a little shack by the side of the road ahead of me. So all of a sudden, the guy starts hollering at me, stop or I'm going to shoot you, stop, stop. So as I increase the distance and he's hollering at me to stop, I turn around and look, and I see I got a fairly decent distance. So I say, I'm going to keep running. And I keep running, and then all of a sudden he starts busting caps. And I'm like, oh, shoot. You know, I didn't know what, I'm thinking real quick, you know, do I stop? What do I do? I'm like, forget it, I'm gone. And I keep running, and I keep hearing, pow, pow. And then there's this wooden shack up ahead of me, probably about 20 yards ahead of me. And I can hear the bullets hitting the wooden shed. You know, I can hear them hitting, toot, toot. So I kept going, and then all of a sudden, the shooting stopped. And at the same time that the shooting stopped, I thought I was hit because I just went to the ground. And my knee hurt real bad. I grabbed my knee, and there was a hole in my pant leg, and I was bleeding. And so I was rolling around on the ground holding my knee for a minute. And then I noticed there was no more shooting, and I rolled over and looked back at where the cop was, and he was laid out in the grass. Turned out he had had a heat stroke, but I didn't know that. All I knew is he was laid out. And so I went and stood up, and I started running. And I ran as far as I could. Once I passed that shack, I got to this long road, but there was like a ditch, like a moat or something like that along the side of it. And it was about 10 feet deep. There was no walls to it. It was just dirt and weeds. But it was so steep that if you jump down in there, you can't climb out. And so I'm standing there looking each direction, trying to figure out where I'm going to go, how I'm going to get out across this. When all of a sudden, some cops come running from, there was some woods there too. Some cops come running out of the woods. And I'll never forget, because the first guy had a nickel-plated 45. It was shining in the sunlight. So there was nowhere I could go. I was trapped. They run up to me, and they throw me to the ground, kick me a few times, and then they call for somebody. And the sheriff pulls up in a Cadillac. the sheriff pulls up in the Cadillac, and after they kick me around a bit, they throw me in the back seat and they whisk me off to jail, which is just around the corner. I hadn't gotten very far. And when we get back to the jail, there's a welcoming committee of 5 or 6 cops out there waiting. And sheriff gets out of his car, and they have a little group huddle. And then they come to the back door, and they open the back door and drag me out. And the sheriff sees all the blood in his car from my knee, and he flips out, and they proceed to beating the crap out of me. They drag me into the jail, and they put me in an isolation cell. And I've been in a lot of cells in my lifetime, but I've never seen a cell like this. This cell was 3 bunks high, and there was a shower inside of it. And when you walk in the cell, you step down like a foot. It was really weird. And so, excuse me, they put me in the cell, and they strip me. And it is cold as hell in there. Well, they've got plans for me, and I will save that for part 3 of the video. And let me tell you, in part 3, remember that murder that I told you they were trying to pin on me? Well, they decided that they're going to torture me to get me to confess. So that's going to be part 3.